in the end time, that when Russia is baited into this war, which is coming, which is around the corner, while so many of the scholars of Islam are either asleep or drinking Tetari, I don't know why, they will not comment on contemporary affairs using the Quran and the Sunnah. I don't know why. And we are standing at the doorstep now of that great war, which is going to lead to many other wars.
PIG, pig-headed obsession to rule the world. It doesn't matter to them what is the price. That doesn't matter. So if the price is world war with Russia, so be it. If the price is that most of mankind must perish, so be it. It doesn't matter to them. The Zionists, they don't have mind of their own to think. Their minds are controlled by Dajjal. So the stage is now set for Armageddon, or what the Prophet ﷺ called the Malhama. So yes, I'm saying that it is now inevitable that nuclear war is coming. We cannot avoid it. Not because Russia wants nuclear war, not because NATO wants nuclear war, none of them want nuclear war, but because somebody else wants nuclear war. Who is the somebody else? The somebody else is someone who wants to succeed the United States as the next ruling state in the world. The Judeo-Christian Zionist Alliance knows it. They want Israel to replace the United States as the next ruling state in the world. In the same way that Pax Americana replaced Pax Britannica, so too Pax Judaica will replace Pax Americana. The US dollar is now in irreversible decline. The United States as a world power is now in irreversible decline, and Putin knows that. And Israel is preparing to replace the United States. But Israel is small, and the world is big. How can Israel rule the world? Yes, we can understand the United States. But how can Israel rule the world? Answer, either Israel has to become much bigger, or the world has to become much smaller. Which will it be? That's why they want nuclear war. That's why they want nuclear war. So that the world will become much smaller. My opinion, I can be wrong, my opinion is that you can't live in North America after nuclear war. It won't be habitable. Or Europe, no? Those will be wasteland. My opinion is that what is left of the world after the nuclear war would be a world that is small enough for Israel to manage. And therefore, we see a passage now from Russia to NATO, to Syria, to the Malhama, to Akhir Zaman. And you know what happens after Israel takes over from the United States? The Dajjal's day like a week will begin. And when the week is ended, then the Dajjal will appear in human form. You also know that after the Malhama there is going to be another very important event. What is that? The conquest of Istanbul. Oh, not Istanbul. The conquest of Constantinople. These Christians, when Muslims conquered Constantinople, then the Patriarch, who is like the Pope of this part of the Christian world, he announced that the headquarters are now transferred to Russia. So this part of the Christian world, which is described in the Quran as Rome, has its headquarters in Russia. So when the Prophet said that you'll make an alliance with Rome, of course this is Akhir Zaman, that you're going to make an alliance with Rome in Akhir Zaman. Akhir Zaman doesn't come to the world until you see the tall buildings.
And so we are now seeing the fulfillment of that prophecy.
The schoolboy takes this part of the ayah by itself in isolation. And the schoolboy concludes that Allah is referring to all Jews and all Christians when He said, don't take them as your friends and allies. But that's wrong. Because the Quran is non-contradictory. Allah says so in the Quran. لو كان من عند غير الله, had this Quran come from any source other than from Allah, لوجدوا فيه اختلافا كثيرا, they would have found in this Quran endless inconsistencies and discrepancies. But this Quran is free from inconsistencies and contradictions. But if you say, Allah is saying, don't take all Jews and don't take all Christians as your friends and allies, then there will be contradiction in the Quran. Why? Because Allah says that in the end times, there will be a Christian people who will be closest in love and affection for you. This is Surah Al-Ma'idah. So you have to say to the people who are closest in love and affection for you, we can't be friends with you. That's contradictory. The Quran says you can marry a Christian woman. So when you marry her, you have to say to her, my beloved wife, you can be my wife, but you can't be my friend. It's contradictory. The closest in love and affection for you. Which Christian people is Allah talking about? So you have to look for a Christian people who are still holding on to the monastic way of life. Where are they? Who are the Christians who to this day are holding on to monasticism? Even if you perceive them to be hostile to you now because of past grievances, the Quran cannot be false. You can change their hearts and tomorrow they'll be the closest in love and affection to you. Yes. I hope Egypt is listening. So you'll identify them, you recognize them because of the institution of monasticism. And then Allah says a fourth thing about them. But one more thing by which you can recognize this Christian with whom you will make an alliance. وَأَنَّهُمْ لَا يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ وَأَنَّهُمْ لَا يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ. They're not an arrogant people. They don't want to rule the world. It's because they do not have arrogance stamped on their forehead. These are not a Christians who want to get the whole world to become carbon copies of themselves. Huh? They are not an arrogant people who believe that they have a birthright of superiority and that the rest of the world are like cockroaches. They're only natives and we have the burden to civilize the rest of the world. You can't study international relations and study the history of international politics without coming face to face with this arrogance. The colonization of the rest of the world so that they can civilize the rest of the world. This is not Orthodox Christianity, not at all.